Welcome to the tutorial on how to dynamically load views using frames inside Pluxbox. Let's start by creating a new workspace by clicking on the New button here. Naming it Frame Tutorial, the URL name will be automatically generated. Now click Save. Click on the newly created workspace to open it. Let's start by drawing a container. Set the width to 300 and height to 100. Align the container to the top left by setting the top and left position to 0. Change the alignment to middle left. Let's give a padding of 32 to the left. Now, change the border color to gray and add stroke width of 1 just to the bottom. Let's add a text by choosing the text tool. Drag the text into the container. Now this text is inside our container. Change the position absolute to relative to maintain the styling. Name it Subscriber Details. Now set its width to hug and height to 32. Change the alignment to middle left. As it's a title, let's make the font size to 18 and the family to bold. Now copy and paste this container. Select the text from the layer and change the text to a name. As it's a body, let's make the font size to 16 and the family to semi-bold. Now copy and paste this container. Select the text from the layer and change the text to another name. Repeat the same steps to add another name. Now we have 3 subscriber names ready at the left side of the UI. Let's draw a rectangle, set its width to 1. We are not going to set the height here, so clear it. Change the position constraint to top and bottom. Now set the top and bottom to 0 to extend the line from top to bottom. Also set left to 300 to align left. Give the same color that we choose to the border of the containers we created. Now let's add a frame. Choose the frame tool from the top bar and draw. Let's set the width of the frame to 100%. Clear the height. Change the position constraints to left and right, also top and bottom. Set the top, right and bottom to 0. Give 301 to left so that it is positioned after the line. Rename it to Main Frame. Now, we need to add a new view by clicking on the plus button and we are going to load this view inside the main frame we created. Let's name it Detail Page. Now inside the Detail Page let's draw a rectangle. This rectangle is to set the background color. Empty its width and height. We need this rectangle to fill the view. For that change the constraints to left and right, also top and bottom. Set top, right, left and bottom to 0. Let's change the color to a pale white. Add also a container here. Empty its width and height. We need this container to fill the view. For that select all sides on the constraints. Give 0 to the top, right, bottom and left. Change the layout direction to bottom to align the things we add inside the constructor to appear below each. Set padding to 48 and horizontal space between to 32. This allows the items we add inside this container to automatically follow this layout. Let's add a text field from the components on the left panel. Drag this inside the container we just made. Change its position to relative. Set its width to 100% so that it fills the screen. Also set the height to 80 pixel. Since we are going to display the data that is already present, let's change the color of the placeholder to a higher contrast. Let's name the label as full name and the first subscriber name as the placeholder. Copy and paste this text field. Let's rename the label as subscription number and give some random number at the placeholder. Follow the same steps to copy and paste the text field. Change the label to expiry date and placeholder to some date. I'm going to add 2 buttons below to make the UI look complete. Feel free to skip this if you don't want to do it. For that I've drawn a container. Set width to 786 and height to 48. Change the constraints to right. This is to make the button appear to the right end of the screen. Let's add 50 to the right. Change the alignment to the middle left. Let's set horizontal space between to 32. Because I'm going to add 2 buttons inside this container. Let's add another container for the button. Drag this inside the container that we created before. Change the position to relative. Width to 160 and height to 48. Add a rectangle for the background color of the button. Drag this rectangle inside the button container. Set the width to the same as that of the button container. Add a radius of 5 to the button and choose a color. Give the button a name by using the text tool. Change the alignment to middle center and color to white. Let's rename it to button. Now, copy and paste this button container to add a delete button. Follow the same steps to change the color and text of the button. As you can see, our detail view is now ready. Let's go to the home page view and add the logic. What we want to do is when clicking on the subscriber names, their details should appear on the main frame that we already created. For that, let's start with creating click events to the container with names. You can add an event by clicking on the blue Add button that appears on selection of an item. Let's add a value block here to store the value that can be used by other blocks. Connect the click attribute to the execute attribute of the value. Set the value ID to ABC. Now copy and paste the value attribute to connect with the other two blocks. Change the value ID to DEF for the second one and GHI for the third one. Connect the click attributes to its corresponding value block. Let's insert a set route parameter block here. The purpose of this block is to change the views loaded into the frames. Now connect the result attribute of the three value blocks to both the execute and parameters attribute of the set route block as shown. Press on the click to change space, a pop-up will appear to set the route. For view, choose home page, and for main frame, choose detail page. Hooray! You have completed the main logic part that helps to load another view to a frame. Let's see what we have built till now. Click on the preview button. Whoa! Clicking on the first name loads the details. Now we also want to see details of other names. For that, let's navigate to the details page. Let's start by adding an event to the view by clicking on the Add button and choose Parameter Change. Insert a Get Data block from the menu to pass the ID and retrieve the correct details. Connect the Parameter Change attribute to the Object attribute of the Get Data block. Set ID as the path. We need a value block here to give the data that we want to display while each ID is called. Connect the value attribute of the Get Data block to the Execute attribute of the value. Now we need to add the details of each subscriber here. For your easiness, the data to paste here is given in the description. Please copy and paste it. Let's insert a Find in List block to locate the details of the corresponding subscriber regarding to their ID. Connect the Result attribute of the value block to the List attribute of the Find in List block. Also connect the value attribute of the Get Data block to the value attribute of the Find in List. Set the path as ID inside the Find in List block. Here we need a Get Data block to receive the details as list from the Find in List block and display it in the corresponding text fields. Connect the Item attribute of the Find in List to the Object attribute of the Get Data. Also set the first path to full name, second one to subscription number, and third one to expiry date. Now, click on the text field component and connects its value setting to the corresponding value attribute of the Get Data. Repeat this for all the text field components. Make sure that you connect with the right value here, else it can affect the right fetching of data. We have finished creating the logic. This is how it looks like. Let's see how is it working. Click on the preview button. Awesome! Upon clicking the names, their details are loading in the frame. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial.